Hi, boys and girls. We are at lesson 1-10 on U.S. customary units of length. Now, what are those? Well, we'll figure it out in a second if we don't know already. And let's take a look at our math message. Um, there we go. So, our math message is: would a toddler be closer to 2 feet tall or 2 yards tall? And I have a couple little toddlers here that are much older now, but I found this picture here to help us illustrate that idea. Are they 2 feet tall or 2 yards tall? And feet and yards are exactly what we're talking about when we talk about US customary units of length. Okay, so are Bryce and Cole closer to 2 feet or closer to 2 yards? Think about it. How would you explain it? And let's move on when you're ready. Okay, so we're going to use this scale. It's actually in our journal page to help us with this. Yards are the equivalent of 3 feet. And 3 feet is the equivalent of 36 inches. And so do we see how we can just use a nice little line right here to illustrate that? So when we talk about inches, feet, yards, we're thinking like this. This ruler here. This ruler here is 12 inches. It's also 1 foot. We can see that right there, right? Now, how much of a yard is that? Is it a whole yard? Is it less than a yard? Is it more than a yard? Well, we can see right here that it is actually 1 out of 3 feet that make up a yard. So it's actually 1/3 of a yard. And so let's get into looking at our journal page real quick. I'm also going to zoom in just a little bit to help us work on that. There we go. So, yes, as I mentioned before, 1 foot right here is the same thing as really like 1/3 of a yard, right? 2 feet would be 2/3. And then we have 3 feet, which would make 1 whole yard, or 3/3 of a yard. And we haven't talked a whole lot about fractions yet, but that is something that we'll want to think about as we go. So we have 1 foot, and that's also the same as 12 inches. So using this table, you're going to be able to using this scale, you're going to be able to fill out this table. All right, so let's kind of make a quick sort of observation here. Up here, we're looking at a scale, right? It has some units of measurement, and it helps us kind of compare what the different units are and help us convert them. And that is what we're going to be doing today in lesson 1-10 is converting measurement. So we're going to be converting yards into feet and feet into inches, and the other way too. If we have 12 inches, we know it's 1 foot. So for every 12 inches, we're going to have another foot. And that's going to help us with some of our problems here, okay? And into the next page as well. And these the next page does get a little bit complicated. And we do want to make sure we use our cubes method for this whole page. And that is something we cannot see. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to choose purple. All right. And yes, we want to think about cubes when we work on these word problems. Whoa, cubes. So I'm going to have you working on at least this page before we meet and discuss. Okay, I think that that is a fair amount of work for us to be ready to then talk about working on some of the problems together, either with partners or on our own. All right, so when we're converting feet into inches, 1 foot is 12 inches. So we know we need to multiply by what if we want to go from feet to inches? And how about yards to feet? We need to multiply by something to get from yards to feet. Now, if we're going the other direction, we have a few examples here, like this one right here, where we already know the feet, but we know we have to figure out how many yards that is. And if we know how to change yards into feet, we can know how to go backwards too. And that's going to help us with filling out that table. And this scale here, it doesn't go all the way up to 27 feet. We're going to have to use some of our own kind of common sense and some thinking about it to make it work. Down here, we're going to complete this scale. We want to make sure to fill out each little space and write in the answer that goes along with our thinking there. And then we have some problems to solve here. And I'd like you to think about using an equation to show your answer for each one, or some type of math work. Just an answer, not okay. We need to do more than that. Okay, so then we have our try this, which does involve some writing. All right, so that is our units of length activity. If you breeze through this and feel very comfortable, I'd like you to work on the home link as well. This should be some practice that we do anyway at some point during the week. This is going to be something that as we get going into the year more, the home links are going to become required work. Now, they may be something that we do during school time, or they may be something that you do after school time, but it is going to become more and more part of the responsibilities that we have. And we also, by the end of the week, are going to have 2 different preview math boxes for Unit 2. And I definitely want you to make sure that you are completing those by the end of the week. So it gives me an idea of how much you know about the concepts that we're going to see in Unit 2. All right, so happy Monday, welcome back. And I'm so excited to see all you Pod B kids. And I'm so bummed that I can't see those Pod A kids until next week. But I'll get to see you on our Google Meets too. All right, anyway, happy Monday, and I'll see you soon.